Before I get started, I just want to say that 8BitDo recently announced a version of this controller and a couple of other controllers that they make, basically the same as the version I'm reviewing today, but with Hall effect sticks. Unfortunately, I don't have that controller, and I don't know what else they've changed besides the Hall effect sticks, but do keep that in mind. But if this new version of the controller is substantially different from the one I have right now, then it may warrant a re-review in the future. Happy gaming! This is an 8BitDo Pro 2. If you're familiar with 8BitDo controllers, this is essentially an SN30 Pro, but with added handles. It basically is a modern Super Nintendo controller, but with analog sticks and 2 sets of triggers. Inside the box itself, you can find the controllers and a set of analog grips. These greatly resemble some of the Sheikah designs from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're cool, but not strictly necessary. Also inside is a USB Type-C cable and some instructions. These instructions are fairly self-explanatory, but I would read them in case you need it. The USB Type-C cable is nothing special. The controller itself is a work of art. I like the sort of frosted black clear look to it. On the back of the controller, you can find a battery pack, a replaceable 8BitDo battery pack. Yes, the battery is rechargeable, but in case the battery goes bad, you can replace it really easily. Also on the back is a mode switcher. You can switch between Switch, Android direct input, and X input controls in case you need it. This controller is primarily designed for the Nintendo Switch, but I've been using this more with my PC and my Steam Deck than anything else really. It's got a full complement of controls, and including analog triggers in case you want to use this as an Xbox controller. The controls are very much Super Nintendo inspired. Compared to a modern controllers, the buttons are a bit far out, but I actually prefer it that way. The start and select buttons are very mushy, very reminiscent of how the Super Nintendo did it. But honestly, I'm not too big on the mushy start and select buttons anymore, but that's just me. Also on the back are 2 macro buttons that can be programmed. You do, however, need to use an 8BitDo app. The sticks on this controller are quite nice, but honestly, I wouldn't use this controller for any normal 3D games. I would use this controller for 2D games, you know, platformers, beat 'em ups, fighting games, stuff like that really. So to answer everyone's question, yes, this does work with the Steam Deck, and in fact I suggest using this in Switch mode with the Steam Deck. Steam Deck usage does have some weird quirks though. The biggest issue I have with this controller is that every time I want to use it with my Steam Deck, I have to repair it. Like, I have to initiate the Bluetooth pairing process every single time. And if I had to be honest with you, it is very annoying. And yes, this happens every single time. It's even happened on my old 8BitDo SN30 Pro. It seems like it's just an 8BitDo issue altogether, but I don't have enough 8BitDo controllers to know for certain. But aside from that though, how does it perform? Well, it performs excellently. Playing 2D games is a breeze with this D-pad. This D-pad has a very nice pivot. I also don't have any issues with missed inputs with my D-pad, which is a great sign. I have no complaints with any of the face buttons or the bumpers or triggers. Gyro also works quite well, but only in Switch mode. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this thing has a gyro. So I will admit, I am very particular with my controllers. I prefer different controllers for different games, even if ultimately they're the same type of controller. And outside of a fight stick, I prefer using my 8BitDo controller for just about everything else 2D. Fight sticks are excellent, but they're not very portable. And this controller comes in a close second. This is my preferred controller for 2D games. It's not a perfect controller, and I think GullyKit's offering is better for the general gamer. But for the 2D aficionado, I think this is even better. This right here is Slave 0X. It's a 2D action, I guess you could say it's more like a character action game, kind of like Devil May Cry. If you wanted a more accurate depiction of the game, I would say it's like Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero. But like the combat is more Guilty Gear inspired and less Mortal Kombat related anything. Oh yeah, and also the game is good. It's really good. The game is also quite difficult, so I can't recommend it to everyone, but I can recommend it to anyone that wants to give it a shot. This is the sort of game that would benefit from more precise controls. Something with a good D-pad, or I don't know, maybe a fight stick would be beneficial here too. I can execute most of the moves in this game, and I can do a pretty mean combo. Probably not as good as those other people on Twitter, but still. And all of it was executed using this controller. This is real gameplay. So for the type of gameplay that likes to play games with an emphasis on D-pad motion, I think this controller is hard to beat. You can't go wrong with this controller. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.